let's talk about Iran. The case is made, or can be made, that when we speak about the genocidal intentions of the Iranians, what we're really doing is fueling a certain kind of Jewish hysteria and a very unhelpful hysteria. And in fact, what we're really doing is the bidding of, say, the Likud in Israel. That the Iranians want a bomb for a set of perfectly identifiable reasons, the same reasons why the Indians wanted a bomb, Pakistanis wanted a bomb. In fact, the Israelis themselves wanted a bomb, protection, prestige, and so on. That they would be fools to use that bomb, certainly against Israel, knowing what the consequences would be, and that to risk a war for the sake of stopping it is crazy. I mean, or it's crazy except if you're a mad dog Likudnik or one of their neocon pals in the U.S. I mean, how do you view that argument? Because this is an argument that's heard, in respectable places.
Right. So I'll give some personal context. I'm coming from this. My background is one of a human rights activist. I was the chairperson of the African National Congress Solidarity Committee of Canada. We worked with the African National Congress, the ANC, to try and abolish apartheid. I worked with indigenous groups in Canada. I was part of all sorts of human rights organizations from an array of issues. I'm not coming from a parochial or a neocon perspective to these issues. And I'm coming, I guess, as a social democrat and a critical social theorist. And I think that as somebody who believes in human rights, somebody who believes in liberal democracy, somebody who believes in citizenship, somebody who believes in women's rights, gay rights, religious pluralism, and certainly I'm opposed to genocidal anti-Semitism, that if anybody believes in this notion of enlightenment, democracy, and that everybody should be equal under the law, Iran and Islamicism poses a tremendous threat, whether you're on the left or on the right, whether regardless of your religious and cultural background. This is an affront to everybody. And what concerns me is that we in the West, I don't think we understand the language of what we hear. When Ahmadinejad spoke at Columbia University last year, when he was here to speak at the United Nations, he said in a speech that there are no gay people in Iran, and everybody laughed. And this was the most educated, I guess, example of the American population. You had some of the finest students and the finest faculty in that room, and everybody laughed when he said there were no gay people in Iran. And I think if you understand the human rights violations against gay people in Iran, nobody ought to laugh. And what Ahmadinejad is not a stupid man, and he's a very smart and clever man. And what he meant was, you cannot be gay in Iran. And if you're found out to be gay in Iran, it's punishable by death. Because according to radical notions of Islamicism, it's just not tolerated. Just like it's not tolerated for Jewish people to have self-determination on what he considers to be Islamic land. So I really would argue strongly that regardless of our political backgrounds here in this room, that we really need to start to listen to the language and to understand the language and educate ourselves about what is being said. Because one thing about the Islamicists is that they're straightforward, they're clear, they don't hide their agenda. Every Friday in the mosques, every policy paper they write, they're very clear and straightforward. And we need to really begin to read and understand and educate ourselves in what they're doing.